We can use that clip.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All of it. That's in there. Yeah.
I was really fearful to go on the trip because of not knowing like literally over half the people who were going to be on the trip. Going there and like creating this entirely new like relationship with people that I had barely even known, and like becoming a family with them, and now having even more friends at church and stuff was really impactful for me, because I was kind of afraid to like go and like be there with these strangers, but now I have like 20 new friends. Planting a seed and God will do the rest. God will grow the tree, you just need to plant the seed. My most impactful experience would probably be the day that we went to Cleethorpes, which is their beach there. We played games, played some flag football and some spike ball, and then later on in the day, Scott had challenged some of us to go out and start talking to people on the beach. Me and Katie and Brianna went out and met this man and his son, and we were talking. He like claimed to be a believer and started talking about the Bible, but there were a couple of things that like didn't add up, and so we pointed him to the church that we were there visiting called King's Baptist Church. After like having this like 15-20 minute conversation about the Bible and Jesus and everything, we turned around to leave because we didn't want to get left on the beach, and his little son had written in the sand, and it said, "Jesus, I believe in you." At that moment, everything was good in the world, because this little kid had this incredible heart to just believe in whatever I was saying and trust me, and also like take it into his own heart, and that's something that I'll remember, and hopefully that his little son will remember. We were just like hanging out in the stairwell doing our devotions, and Miss Tracy, every person that walked by, like whether they were a worker or like anything, she like invited them to like join our Bible study or like say a couple words, and that was like, I would have never done that. It freaked me out so much, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? Like, she's literally crazy, what is she doing? But then like the last person, we were like, come on in, like you can pop a squat. Like we were talking about gratitude and like being thankful for being able to go on this trip, and then being thankful for everything we have in our lives, and these random people just stopped and like gave us their thoughts on gratitude, and it was so cool to see these people in England or like whoever they were, because like we were right next to this multicultural prayer room, and so like a bunch of different religions just like walked by. Like we'd see people in hijabs and like all this stuff. We all were like, gratitude is like being thankful for like no matter what, and just not taking things for granted and stuff. So it was really cool to see Miss Tracy. Like she's so sweet, just like constantly inviting people. Don't be selfish and like go just because you want to go. When you're there, you can't be selfish. Like you can't have these people who don't know about Jesus seeing you there and sitting on your phone or like not talking. Like you have to step out of your comfort zone and be that person to like go up to someone like I did on the beach and be like, look, hey, I'm here because of Jesus and I want to tell you about it. Like you can't just sit there and like expect people to come to you. And I think when you go overseas, it's so much easier because people are like, wait, why are you even here? Like the amount of times people in Malpi were like, wait, like why are you like Americans never go to this town. Like it was such a good way to be like, okay, like I'm here because of this. And you have to be the person to like go out of your comfort zone and say like, hey, what's your name? Start a conversation, which I was never really I'm not that person here because it's scary. But like you're never gonna see these people again. You might as well leave a lasting impression. You can't judge someone on their religion just by how they look. We all look really similar, and kind of just like, especially for me, I've grown up in a Christian school. I've gone to church since I was a baby. Like I do crew and like Bible study and all this stuff, and so like I'm used to being around Christians all the time, and so I don't really know many people here that aren't Christians. And so now that I like know like the majority of England is completely against the church, even though like the churches came from England. So like you can't judge someone because like, oh, like they look like they're a good person, or like the whole morals thing came up a lot. It was like, oh, like I'm a good person, I do good things, but that doesn't mean you're gonna like go to a good place. So really just like not focusing on how people look, or like judging people whether they're doing the right things or not, and like being there, like creating relationships. 'Cause people aren't gonna people aren't gonna trust a stranger. You have to like create relationships with people and like keep building on stuff for them to like finally accept like this message and like look into it.